Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Yo, Pops Van Zant here. The Madness Comic Network is evolving into the Madness Roku Network. We're taking our stuff to Roku. We're joining great channels like the American Horrors channel. We're taking our stuff over there, guys. We love it over there. You're going to love what we bring you. We got some great shows, all kinds of different stuff. Come join the madness, yo. Madness Roku Network right here. Peace.
What is Path of the Pale Rider anyway? Is it a comic book? No, that's not it. Is it this? What the heck is Path of the Pale Rider, man? There's no way this is right. How about this? I have no idea.
We can rob a bank.
Oh, it's this.
The Madness Comic Network and Comic Related Madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It is Tuesday. I have my coffee. Actually, it's about halfway gone, so I'm not completely overly caffeinated like normal, but I'm getting close. I needed that coffee this morning. I was tired. I had a blast last night launching Path of the Pale Rider #4. I just want to say thank you to so many people, to Ron and Brittany, who did their regular show and then stayed on for an additional 2 hours to host my launch party, and we had a blast. They were just giggling the whole time at my shenanigans, which, is fun for me. Thank you to everybody who came out and backed on the first part of the launch. That always, for those of us who are creators, that imposter syndrome is just never far away. You know what I mean? And no matter how many campaigns we do, we always feel like we're going to push the launch button and then there's going to be crickets. Now, it never happens that way. And I tell everybody the same thing, that will never happen. We will do a launch party for you and it will take off and you will see. But for the people that understand how important it is to be there in the beginning when we launch, thank you. We really appreciate you. I appreciate you. Right now, the campaign is here. So we're not quite at 24 hours. We got actually probably about 10 hours left, something around like that, before we hit 24 hours. We got 41 backers, which is insane. And I think we're about 53% funded, which is great. I mean, our goal is not small. That 4550, again, it's that black and white number. We got to push to 6,200 to get to the color number. So we got a ways to go, but hey, man, I am not complaining. We are taking off like gangbusters. If you didn't have a chance to go through, remember, I got GIFs. This one goes a little slower, so you can take a look at some of the pages. There are preview pages from #4 in this GIF. I kind of gave everybody an idea of what the interiors look like, but if you haven't seen issue #3, I gave you a spoiler warning. Because it's basically if you haven't read 3, that's a spoiler. Yeah, we don't want to spoil the story. So there's please go look around. There's such cool stuff. We got the new Funko Pop. I want John's going to come on with me. John Westhoff, he's my guest today, who's a friend of mine and who's awesome and who's been in the chat on the show. And I really enjoy his comments and picking his brain at times in other chat groups. So I want to see his reaction to my welcome video, because it's so funny. And of course, it's me being modest, right? And then we have a blooper video to the welcome video, which is funny. But if you haven't seen these variant covers, they're so good. And again, every campaign, I feel lucky that I just automatically get one of everything, because I wouldn't be able to choose. They're so different and amazing. I love them all. And the fact that we have a sketch cover. A few things about the campaign I want to remind people. This is the last time we will be running a print job on the black and white version of issue #1. So if you don't have the black and white version, make sure you add on an issue #1 physical copy, because after this, they're going out of print. Matt Chambers, who came on last issue, will be coloring issue number 1 shortly. Him and I have already talked about it. He's going to be starting as soon as we get situated. So after this campaign, we're going to be doing a trade paperback. That trade paperback will have colored pages for issue number 1. And we aren't going back to black and white. We enjoy color too much. This world is so much more vibrant in color. So it does it justice. The other thing I want to show people is in the add-ons. I don't know if I can even get there from here. There's add-ons. I don't know if it'll show it. Will it? Hold on. Maybe not. There is an option to add on a metal cover for issue number 1. Here it is. Because this wasn't previously available. We didn't run metal covers on our first campaign. I didn't even know those were a thing. So if you're collecting the metal covers, there is an opportunity to get metal cover number 4 this campaign, but you can also get metal number 1. It did drop the price on those. If people wanted to get those, it is available. The other thing is the poker cards. We are so close to unlocking the first. We're 9 backers away from unlocking the first poker card, which is awesome. If you missed out on last campaign's poker card, you can add it to here it is, the King of Hearts. You can add it onto your pledge for $1. So we want to build all 52 cards. If you're missing anything, I'll always have them there in the add-on so you can fill in the blanks, because that would suck to have like a 48 card deck. I would be so mad. Be like, where is my King of Hearts? You know, I need that one. So here it is. So I'm really looking forward to turning this one over and you all can see the first card. It's going to be oh, nope, I'm not going to spoil it. But we have, hopefully we will get 3 cards this campaign. I know for sure we'll get 2 because we'll get more than 100 backers. But that would be great if we could get a 3rd card as well, because the sooner we can unlock these, the sooner we can play cards together. And I have more things up my sleeves. We're going to be smashing pumpkins on Halloween. We got all the good stuff. I love this GIF, by the way. It's Total Recall. Yeah, just go check it out. Go see all the stuff. You can watch all the previous short films. You can look at all the riddles. It's all there. We're working on the next short film. As you can see, I added some more faces to our creator page. It used to be just me and Marco. Here is, of course, Matt Chambers, who joined us last campaign, who does wonderful work. He has so many things going on right now. It's insane. And then, of course, here is beautiful Rachel, who has been with us since issue number 1, but has been hiding in the shadows. So I was like, hey, Rachel, it's time. We would like to put a bio and a picture. And she was like, really? I was like, let's do it. So here she is in all her glory. I love this sunset. So you can read her bio as well. But just make sure that when you get to the bottom of the campaign, don't stop. I have recommendations of things for you to check out as well. So here's like the Madness Roku that we've talked about. If you're a creator and you're looking to bring your content onto a Roku channel, hit us up, because it's cheap as heck right now to get involved. Of course, Carissa's campaign, her next one, which will be launching on October 3rd on the Tuesday Brew. Ray's is launching on Sunday, which will be exciting. There's I Am Keto. I think they have like 2 days left. Go check them out. Razor Wire McGuire, Orphan Bloodline. Razor Wire McGuire is active now. It's a really dark wrestling book written by Jeffrey Cotton. If you like horror, this is like wrestling horror. It's really it's different. And I like it. I'm there for it. Of course, Orphan Bloodline, the craziest historical sci-fi with time travel. Yeah, I know. You need to go check that out. And then here is John's, which we're going to talk about today. This is depowered freaking child possession services and bulletproof chicken all in one campaign, which is insane, John. That's insane, John. That's insane. I just want this bulletproof chicken like blown up the size of my wall, because that's so funny and awesome. So anyway, here's the campaign. I want to show John the welcome video because I think it's hilarious. So I'm going to bring John in. We'll watch it, and then I'm going to get rid of my Kickstarter and we'll focus on John. Cool? Let's do that. Hi, John. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Holy moly. Let's see who's here. John still posted here. It wouldn't be the Tuesday morning brew without this. I know. And you always have the cowboy hat. I was going to break it out today, but was feeling lazy. Black Hat, good morning. Max, Atrocity Press, good morning. Let's see. Chris Hayes, good morning. Good morning. It's Roland, yes. Quentin, Dust Comics. Oh, yeah, all these good people. Yes. And then here, of course, is John's link to the trifecta of awesomeness, and we will look into that here. All right. So, John, I just want to see your impression. Let's see here.
We really have no idea.
How we start. Hi, everyone. I'm Laurie Calcaterra. I am the writer-creator of the all-new Western apocalypse comic book series, Path of the Pale Rider. What's this? Hi, James. Apparently, I'm going to be joined by recently deceased news reporter Ellie Brock from WDED Channel 13. Why? Hello, Ellie. How are you? I'm dead. How do you think I feel? But I'm sorry. Moving on. In Path of the Pale Rider, your body can die, but your soul or your energy doesn't leave your body upon death. Your brain rots in your skull, leaving you confused, forgetful, totally violent, or detached, whatever. People, animals, insects, we're all stuck here together. There is no death, only decay. Did you tell them about Big James? Yeah, I didn't get that far. Big James is a giant undead bear, people. Can I finish? I would like... He is terrifying. Leave your eye alone. So in issue 1, we follow Jude St. Clair 10 years into the apocalypse. He meets Big James. Consequences! Issue 2, Jude St. Clair goes to the town of Santa Claus looking for information, and he picks a fight and consequences. Please stop doing this. Issue 3, we jump all the way back in time to
You're wearing the same hat.
Day that Death went missing.
It is the same hat.
Consequences.
I need a braid, and it can be like.
I mean, Inception. I guess you can say that. It's just that I can't really show you too much of issue number 4 without spoilers, because we're still dealing with what happened at the end of the last issue. What? You killed Jude? Really, I didn't say that. I can't believe you killed him off. That's your main character. This is how rumors get started. It's not. What's wrong with you? My eye, it feels weird. Stop touching it. It's going to fall out. That would be funny. No, that would be disgusting. Our art team on issue number 4
it's
is
gonna
our very
happen.
own Mark Philo on pencils and inks, and of course Matt Chambers, who joined us on colors in the last issue. Ellie, do you want to tell people who the variant artists are? Lacey Kruger and William Russell, Lauren Gibson, and me. No, you didn't make a cover. The last cover is a sketch cover so that people can get their own original Big James from their favorite artist. I just wanted to feel. Oh dear God. Path of the Pale Rider is a fan interactive experience where there's a riddle on the back of every cover, and there are short films that enrich the story where you can interact with the world. You can find us just about everywhere. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, and all of our videos, our short films are on YouTube. If you want to participate in the shenanigans, I'm just gonna keep going here. New to the campaign are trucker hats there's an updated surprise reward, and the new Funko Pop will be Callie St. Clair, which is, of course, Jude St. Clair's mom. Don't forget, we are building a poker deck in the stretch goals, so we're going to continue. We unlocked the King of Hearts last campaign, and I'm hoping that we could unlock like 2 or 3 cards this time. And if you're new to Path of the Pale Rider, don't worry. I always have a catch-up tier looking for the catch-up bottle. And that's where you can get caught up on everything that we've done so far. I think that's it. Thank you in advance for your support. Thank you for supporting Indie. And Ellie, any last words you want to say? Chicken nuggets.
Consequences.
I quit.
Consequences. Oh man.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets. This is me acting out.
Rock from WEB Channel 13.
She says, "Damn it! I made this video, and you're all gonna watch it."
That's right. That's what this is, John.
I don't have anything for this. No one.
This one's only a minute.
For this. That's a hot mess.
A lot of me falling down.
Someone get her out. Someone come to Ellie. Please. Uh-oh. Oh. Uh-oh.
Should get that one in.
Oh.
That one was a good one.
Down here somewhere. I'll find it.
Looking for her eye.
I got it.
Found it. Hey, good morning, Lacey and Doc.
Back to you. Sugar. Sassafras. Country music. Peas and carrots. Caramel corn. Maple syrup. Back to you.
I was just going on a food game. I didn't know what to do.
Thank you. What's that? You like the banjo music?
No, I said country music is actually zombie speak, so that fits.
For sure.
How does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense.
They're very similar in dialect.
Oh, okay. Anyway, please go check out Path of the Pale Rider. It's the link is in the chat, but I'll post it for you again. It's just palerider.com. And then go see what you like. Go see what you like. Let's get rid of that. All right. Put that away for now.
Yeah, don't show my video after that, not to make it about me.
No? Would you like me to?
No, God, no. I do not have the productions capabilities or sense that you do. I consider myself a showman, but you definitely one up anybody who thinks they've got an engaging video.
I go a little nuts. I can't help myself sometimes. But like all the extra shenanigans were just like bonus.
My video is just the shenanigans. I'm like, I ain't editing this shit. It's all staying in. It's got to go up.
Wait.
I have about 5 minutes to get it up.
Let's see the shenanigans.
Oh, no,
Sorry, I got to see it since we're talking about it.
Somebody else did this for me, so that was nice.
Well,
see, I didn't even add music because I'm like, I have literally like 24 hours to get this up, and I'm just doing it.
So we have to do it ourselves. And we ran out of time.
Yeah. And I keep getting
comic fans. This is John
taken down on YouTube for
at this point.
music, so I was like, I'll just
In our Kickstarter career, you know how we do it.
say that again. I'm sorry.
It's basically just me talking about the campaign, but yeah,
I could play.
You know how it goes. Well, maybe you don't know how it goes because you're definitely balls to the walls with all your stuff. You got videos, you got all kinds of extra stuff. The QR code thing that you put out, the puzzles on the back. I'm just like, you know what? I got like 15 minutes to make this video. It's got to go up, as raw as possible.
You were the first person to actually find the riddle on my back cover too. So congratulations to that.
Yeah, well, I don't know how many other people gave up, but I needed some assistance. It was harder than I thought. It was weird because when you put multiple on there, I think the QR reader just gets,
confused,
totally overloaded. Yeah, because I kept getting just a couple of them, and I'm like, I don't see what she's talking about. But
So,
something in the future. maybe less.
All right. Well, I'll give everybody a hint if you're watching, and if you have the issue, it's on the bottom row. On the bottom row. So if you're looking for the bonus content for the riddle for 3, start at the bottom and work your way up, and you'll find it.
Got it.
Yeah. It's creepy. It's creepy. Definitely not meant to be sunshine and rainbows. So, John, you're a regular here, and I know you, but for everybody that's watching, why don't you tell them who you are, what you're about, to give us your meaty origin story.
Okay, I'm John Westhoff. I'm the publisher, writer, letterer for Part-Time Comics, sometimes doing art and design work as a one-man show. But yeah, previously I was with publisher Kingbone Press for about 10 years. That came to its conclusion and took a little break. And then a few years ago, I decided, you know what, I still got the itch to make comics. So, picked a tongue-in-cheek name at Part-Time Comics, and it's something I do on the side. But of course,
full time.
Yes, like most of us, it didn't necessarily stick to the plan that I had at the beginning to keep it casual this time around. So with that being said, now we're releasing 3 books at the same time. I believe it's our 16th, 17th, and 18th book since 2021. Wow. So yeah, the part-time hasn't worked out as much as I thought.
Oh my Lord. And that's just so crazy. I can't believe you're so far into this. And anybody that launches multiple books on a campaign, I'm in awe of that. That's just that's a lot of work. And a lot of forethought and money, you know what I mean, put into the product before you even launch. That's insane. Hello, Chris. Thank you.
It is a little insane, but some of it, a lot of it, all these books, they just came together at the same time. So you know what? If we treat it like a subscription package, I want to ship less. I know our backers want to pay less and have all the books at once. So we're just kind of throwing them together.
That's awesome.
But so then, they got in various stages. You got this one in coloring, this one's in editing. You kind of just balance all the plates and then see where they end up.
Right. But I mean, for the most part, they'll all be ready, by the time you deliver in November. So hopefully November. I always say I'm going to deliver at a certain time and then something blows up and then it doesn't. So fun times. Hopefully they all stay on track for you. That's fingers crossed. With me, something would be derailed.
All are very close to finish. So yeah, barring some act of God or somebody quitting last minute, we're in the home stretch. So yeah, if anybody's worried about that,
knock on wood.
Yeah, at least one book is completely done. I just need to letter the last few pages, and then the other 2 are right at the final stages. And I'll slap some letters on them, and they'll be off to print.
Awesome. That's so cool. These are just amazing. Hello again, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support as well. There's so many people that came out day one, and I my heart goes out to all of you. I was like, John, I might cry on the show today. I might cry. So hello, sketchy guy.
This is the show where you laugh at your own jokes, not where you cry. Okay.
Well, I mean, you could do all the things.
True.
Yeah, you knocked on the table too. Thank you, Quentin. Good luck. Right, we're gonna knock on wood to make sure that John's books all get done, nothing catastrophic happens. So when you took a break and then came back, and it's part-time, full-time, when you came back, what did you see for yourself, and has it evolved since then? You kind of said it was part-time, but now it's really a full-time thing.
Well, with the exception of Bulletproof Chicken, really, I kind of had 3 or 4 story ideas that I really that was part of what got the itch going. It was like, well, I didn't really get a chance to do these the first time around in my first 10 years. And, maybe if I can find some artists to team up with, maybe we can get these going again. So I had kind of a 5-year plan where it was like, okay, we can get Depowered out, superhero book. We can get Child Possession Services, which is, a social worker for possessed children. And then Drumsticks and Doom was really kind of the thing holding it all together. It was a story I really wanted to get out there, and it was like, okay, let's build around that. I've got 3 stories. I can kind of just warehouse them under this name, Part-Time Comics, publish them myself. Let's give it an honest go again and see. And then some of the other books kind of just came along the way. People wanted to team up on things or came up with suggestions. That's how a bunch of our anthologies came along.
Cool.
And so I kind of had an idea what I wanted to do the first couple of years, but best laid plans, and all that.
Yeah.
I started throwing in a whole bunch of other ideas year after year. And again, now
right, it kind of evolves. And so how do you manage to wear all the hats that you wear? Because I think that's the hardest part for me, is balancing the time commitment between all these roles, where it's like, are you currently writing these series? Are they written and done and now we're just producing the art? Because I think, trying to balance like quality time for writing versus marketing, managing teams, building a Kickstarter, and all of the time really that it takes. How do you do all that?
Well, I mean, my first go around, I never really intended to publish books. I was like, okay, we're going to put out these books, and if I put them up online, people are going to buy them. I was so naive to the process, 15 years ago. And then, I kind of started talking to some like-minded people who wanted to get together on an anthology and said, we never really were able to get it off the ground, and we all have these stories. And I was like, well, I'm naive enough to do it, so let's take it on. And I just kind of enjoyed it. I liked being the project manager. I liked getting people's stories. And at the time I had zero Photoshop skills. And I just said, let's try and put it together. And we put out a 140-page book. It was called Low Concept. And I just really enjoyed that. And I said, okay, let's do it again. And we did another one. And then we did a music-themed anthology called Banthology. And then, my partner at the time, Bob Ornelas, we started putting out our own books. And that's where Bulletproof Chicken started. And I just really enjoyed that behind-the-scenes part of it. And I just think if you're going to get into it, you just have to be comfortable being uncomfortable and kind of learning things on the fly and balancing all those plates. Like I said, if you're not the kind of person who can do that, who can write for an hour and then letter for an hour and then get book ready for print and then do your Kickstarter video, then, you may just want to, have your books published by someone else. But I enjoy kind of herding the cats all the time. And then you really feel satisfied when you get that product in your hand, you see your fingerprints all over it. Is really it's just a satisfying creative process.
I'm with you. And God bless you, because a lot of people who do the publishing and like formatting and making sure things are going to print right, God bless you, because I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time, and I made some mistakes.
What?
I made plenty of mistakes early on, which I look at and cringe. But yeah, if you can, if it's in your budget or you have a friend who's good at it, who's willing, of course, lean on the professionals. Don't take everything on your own hands if you can. But if you have the opportunity and you just want to do it, it's really cool to learn. And you can share your knowledge with others, or you're in a pinch and you need to throw together that credits page. You know how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to learn at least how each step functions. And then if you decide that you don't want to do it, or you're not good at it, or you just don't have the time, then you can at least appreciate what that other person is doing for you. There's nothing worse than being like, why isn't this done yet? And it's like, well, it takes a little while, Laurie. Chill your ass out. You know what I mean? I never want to be that person who is unappreciative to what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm like, teach me what you're doing so I understand the process. So if it takes like a week, I understand why. It's not like I think like you're out drinking coffee. It's like, no, they're working on your stuff. Just chill out. And it's the hard part for a lot of us creators who are impatient as well, where it's like, where's my stuff? I wanted it 3 years ago, like.
Like, yeah, no, I agree with you. I actually just recently did my first sequential stories. I have very little artistic talent or ability, but I said, you know what? I'm the publisher. If anybody's going to put it out, it's going to be me.
There you go.
I had a book where I was like, all right, I can do a short story, and I wanted to see that whole process through. Finally, I've done the the lettering, and I've done some coloring, and just to get that experience, I think it's really helpful. Like you said, to be empathetic to your peers when they're not getting you that page on time. You're going to understand. And did it come out great? No, but I think if you go through that whole process, even if you don't show it to anybody, write the page, draw the page, scan the page, letter the page. Go through the whole process, even if it's just a 4-page story that you do for yourself, and you'll learn a lot along the way. And I'll tell you that scanning and digital upload process, I have great empathy for anyone who gets such clean, beautiful pages. I was so frustrated. I was calling friends. I was like, I don't know why this is the thing that I just cannot get it to work. And I learned a lot. And again, I'm the publisher, so why not give myself a shot?
Doc, I am drinking the coffee. Don't worry. Yes, I love this. Thank you. And Symmetry was like, John Westhoff, part-time comics, full-time badass.
Full-time
Carissa, hello, Carissa, my bestie. How are you? She's working.
Got all of our,
what's this?
Got all of our
cat.
cross-promotion friends in there.
Oh, yeah. I love them all. They all showed up for John today, which is great. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. The support is awesome. So I want to talk about each one of these, and I want to talk about 6 of Doom, which is such a cool book. And I was like, if he ain't giving away guitar picks, he has lost his mind. And then like your next post was like, hey, check out these guitar picks. And I was like, yes, I knew it. And like, you have your own drumsticks with their logo on it. I was like, that's nuts. Because like drumsticks are like, they're thin. So how you got the stuff on there and it looks great. I was like, that's impressive. So you have just like kick-ass merch, all these cool titles, but I want to talk about them from, writer to writer. So which one was the first one? It was Drumsticks of Doom.
So our first for part-time comics was actually Child Possession Services.
Really?
My longtime collaborator, Bob Garton-Ellis, we had this character that we created a few years ago. We had a couple short stories with her. And then, I said, hey, Bob, we've been talking for a couple of years. I'm thinking about getting back into it. And thankfully, he had the time in his schedule. He wanted to dust off an old character. And then we put another story together. That was the first Child Possession Services, which I have here.
Wait, hold, please hold.
Was a huge launching point for part-time comics. Without Bob, he drew my first story I ever wrote. I found him on a community message board for the group 11 O'Clock Comics. And had he not answered that post, I don't even know if I'd be sitting here writing comics. It was just such a great experience with him. We partnered together again to put out dozens of books together under his brand, Kingbone Press. And, again, it's fitting that he would team up with me again. And actually, spoiler for anybody who hasn't read through the Kickstarter, every single one of these books in this campaign was co-created by Bob. Bob's a little bit of a private person, so he doesn't, jump on the shows with me and promote as much as he used to. But he is a huge part of these. He did the covers for most of them. He co-created Depowered before he had to step aside. He co-created Bulletproof Chicken, a decade ago. And again, Child Possession Services was the launching book for part-time comics. And again, fitting, as I've worked with him, every year that I've been doing this. And it really started, Child Possession Services started out as just a joke for Bob. Like he needed a short story for something. And I was like, he loves John Constantine. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, perfect.
I have this idea that's, a gender swapped John Constantine. I even called her Constantina at the time. And it was just a one-off.
No, it's Connie. That's awesome.
So that's when we changed her name. And, I kind of threw it out to him. Hey, I have this idea. And of course, Bob, being the smarter one of us, he's like, well, I think you actually have a good idea here. Like a person who works with possessed kids, like, you're a social worker. Like, what if we made her, Eastern Indian? And what if, that was part of, how she's better at, these spells or things that she uses to help the kids. And I was like, oh, you're a genius. And then the idea was actually better than my one-off joke that I wanted.
But that's how it always goes. We're like, there's some random idea, like, what about helicopter people that chase wild boars? And then it turns into something else. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, it's just always something so random, and it turns into these really awesome ideas.
And most of my ideas are very random. And then, I need other people to kind of rein me in and be like, okay, what if we actually did this? Oh, all right.
That's funny.
So yeah, so he actually, he's co-written all the first stories. He draws all of Connie's stories. So this is the second one, the Halloween special. This takes us back a little bit from the first issue. So I do think people would want to pick up the first issue, but you could read this on its own. But this is very much a flashback in how she wanted to go into Child Possession Services, which of course is the poorly run government agency for children who are possessed or were recently possessed. Of course, as possessions are more common around the world, the government would in America would make this very poorly run, underfunded agency for people to work at.
This is the truth.
That's Child Possession Services. It was the first book from Part-Time Comics. And I'm glad we're getting to issue 2 finally a couple years later. It took us a while, but we got 2 awesome covers. One from Bob, the aforementioned Bob.
Yeah.
And then writer out of an artist out of the UK, DNS. He did our variant cover.
I love that one. They're both good, but I red is my favorite color. And this is just an amazing. This would be a great tattoo. Look at it. It's amazing.
I agree. I have the original art around here somewhere too.
What? That's frame that sucker. So your stories are all 3-issue arcs.
So oddly enough, this is the second issue of Child Possession Services. We're kind of, because of Bob's schedule, it takes him a while to do the art. He's full-time work like a lot of us.
Yeah.
So it's come out a little slower. So we're trying to make them one shot so you can get a satisfying story.
Gotcha.
Whereas Depowered, it is the 3rd issue, and Bulletproof Chicken, it is the 3rd issue in that series as well.
Gotcha. And those are the penultimate issue?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay.
Bulletproof Chicken was by far one of our best received series over the years. People, ask me every once in a while, bring it back. So we're finally putting a steak knife in it and ending it with this final story here. 2 stories actually.
Quentin makes me laugh. Anyway, yes, this is an amazing picture. It reminds me of like Terminator, because all the skulls stacked up, and it's just there's so many good images. The fact that he's steaming out of his bullet holes is just amazing.
And that's Bob Gar again, co-creator. He did a short story with me in here. We put it out actually a couple years ago, digital only, so this will be the first time in print.
Really? Yeah, that's awesome.
We've got
that's so cool. Congrats on that.
We got Australian artist Brian Vella is going to do the final story for us here.
Cool.
Wanted to have Bob kind of wrap it up, but again, schedule wise, it didn't work out. But
that's the best tagline. He's back. You're fried. Who came up with that?
Oh, I did. I just needed something to throw on the first cover, and it was "He's bulletproof, you're fried" is the original tagline. So and it just, ironically enough, last year was the 10-year anniversary of the character, so I thought, let's finally give him his final send off. It, as you could probably guess by the cover and for savvy gaming fans of the past with the Contra,
yes.
It's very much exactly what you think it is. It's anthropomorphic, over the top, crime fighting chicken. The first story again was so well received. It's a love letter to 80s movies with this anthropomorphic chicken. But the second one, which I have here, Bulletproof Chicken Nuggets, was
wait, Bulletproof Chicken Nuggets. Tell
how
me
many
more.
of our friends can we get together to do short stories about Bulletproof Chicken?
Oh my god!
There's sequels, there's prequels, there's Elseworld tales, there's a porn parody. We had basically threw everything out there, and again, I always have people come up to the table that it's just such an easy sell. It's he's such a great character, and we finally said, you know what, we've got these 2 kind of black and white Elseworld kind of stories that we want to tell to kind of wrap it up. So that's what this issue is going to be. You can there's only 50 copies of the previously printed Bulletproof Chicken Nuggets left. So please, snatch up all these issues.
Yeah.
Mostly I just did this because I'm tired of the backstock sitting in my closet. So please just buy all these issues.
Right. Please, I need my closet space back. My husband's like, when can I use the dining room table again? I'm like, never. I love this. Some say he's a force of nature. Others say he is a reject of the hormone-injected time gone by.
That is him.
That's awesome.
And that was, like I mentioned with CPS, that was literally Bob and I were at C2E2 and we were eating at Harold's Chicken Shack. For those who don't know, is an amazing establishment that sometimes is not in the best neighborhoods. So to protect their staff, they do have their employees behind bulletproof glass. So we said, hey, it's we're eating bulletproof chicken, and then we were like, oh, that's our next.
That's
order.
it. That's
what we did. And I love that part of comics. Because comics are one of the few creative mediums where, really we could sit down and throw out an idea right now, and by tomorrow, if we had, skill to draw, we could have a comic out and be Xeroxing it ourselves and handing it out to people. And I love to jump on those kind of ideas. So Bulletproof Chicken was very much that. I wrote the script very quickly for Bob, the first 7 or 8 pages. And then he was like, well, it's a little bit too big for me to draw. So we brought in our friend Matt Nixon, and he drew it. And it was really like, Lethal Weapon, RoboCop, all those 80s movies, but it's a giant chicken, and we just threw it all together. And, again, to
Freaking
this date, it's
awesome.
probably one of my best received. So, you know, what does that say?
Isn't
Just
that
go with
weird?
whatever crazy idea you have, just kind of throw it out there. That's what
Yeah.
comics are for, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's just so funny. It's like it's just the weirdest things end up being it, you know? Where it's like, for me, everybody's like Big James. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. All right. More Big James. And then the last one is Depowered. And we've talked about that one before. This is the final. But just in case anybody is not familiar with Depowered, you've been living under a rock. Please tell us more about Depowered.
Depowered is the story of
great one.
Dwayne Dax Jackson. He is an ex-superhero. 20 years ago, people mysteriously got superpowers, but unfortunately 10 years ago, they just as mysteriously lost them. And he is left to pick up his life after short-term superiority. So it's more slice of life, but with this group of characters that also had this off-screen tale, so to speak, that we don't really delve into in the story. So it really was, I had kind of a story for an ex-struggling superhero.
Yeah.
But then I also kind of had this sports story about, you know, somebody who was in retirement and how they'd kind of handle that. And I said, oh, wait, they're the same story. So we just mashed them together.
There you go.
Again, co-created by Bobgar Ornelas. He started off as the artist, but we were able to bring in Ronaldo Lay and some great colorists to help us finish this story. It is the end of Dax's wild ride here. For those who don't know, the series starts out with him at a superhero convention where a lot of ex-superheroes, like ex-wrestlers or ex-athletes, might go around and sign autographs. But he's having a particularly bad convention when one of his ex-superhero relics is stolen from his hotel room, and that kind of leads him on a path to figure out why. And of course, he's down on his luck, alcoholic, like a lot of us in the comic scene. So there's some inside BarCon type of stuff in there too.
Don't tell him our vices. I was drinking on the live stream last night. That's amazing.
Yeah, Depowered was definitely one from Jump, from Part-Time Comics, that I wanted to be one of the stories. It's had its ups and downs, and I think that's kind of gotten into the writing of the book. You know, when I think about Dax and his struggles of, he doesn't really know where he is in the world now. I've kind of put some of that in as the series has struggled. You know, we had a failed Kickstarter 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We had a failed Indiegogo right after that. We had very low numbers for orders, but I said, you know what? We're going to use that. We're going to get this book out. And I'm so happy that we were able to get through it. Conclude the series here. I hope it's well received. Maybe we can get a trade paperback and print next year. But Depowered's had its ups and downs for us. But, you know, and that's part of doing these books together, too, is hopefully, you know, the rising tide will lift all ships. And Depowered still trying to find its audience. So maybe some of these other backers for our other books, you know, will jump on it as well.
Yeah, that's always the hope, right? It'd be like, hey, did you know I also write this? Check this one out too. Sometimes that works. But yeah, man, you got 65 backers. How long was your campaign? 30 days?
We did 24 this time. I've kind of
24.
I've kind of ticked it down a little bit because we really get that 10 or 11 day dead zone in there.
Yeah.
We also did a short pre-order for this, so people who back Drumsticks of Doom could also add these to their backer kit order. So we've already got some fans that have, you know, added it to their carts. So that's great feeling. So really the Kickstarter is to supplement those pre-orders and just make sure we get enough, pay all artists on time, get the books in print and all that.
Your goal is 3,333.
Yes. Well, I figured with 3 books, let's make it funny, right? I probably should have made a better number, like 2,500, but instead I decided to be stupid and go with the joke that I couldn't let go.
It's funny. I like it. I'm always chuckling at stuff like that too, so don't feel bad. I mean, you saw my welcome video. I'm like, hee hee. All right, let's go shopping, people.
Let's go shopping.
Let's go shopping.
Yeah, a lot of this is about the books in our previous books, so you can get them, you know, at good prices. We try to be fair with how we price our books.
Digital's $3. Wow.
$3 for digital. You can get all the first issues for $6. So that includes Bulletproof Chicken and Depowered.
That's insanely cheap.
Yeah, I mean, we try to be reasonable. I know it's hard for indies to compete. I'm fortunate enough I don't have to do this full time. So, you know what? If I lose a little bit of my hobby money here, that's okay. I just want to get these stories out there. And you know, I do pay contributors who aren't part of the co-creation of the product. So
cool.
just try to get people paid on time.
Yeah, that's key. I know. I'm always like, I need pay my people. All right. So this is cool. So you have prints that people can purchase, just print. So
that may be confusing.
Nope. I'm not reading this right. Is this the print or is the print? It's the issue. It's a 24-page.
Yeah, and
issue.
I probably should use the word physical. That's the physical book.
Gotcha.
I just want people to know this is the book in print.
This is the book in print for $6. That's again too cheap.
Maybe.
And here's the print version of CP $6. The Ornell. I can't say his name. Will you say it?
Ornelas.
Ornelas cover.
Yep. And then we got Bulletproof Chicken 3. There as well, or you can get them all digital, $9. We got a couple variants. Only variants for CPS and Depowered. We're sticking with Bulletproof Chicken. Initially only had one cover, so no variants for that. You just get the one cover with that one. And then, you can get all the back orders of books. So a lot of this is about, if any series catches your eye, you can catch up on any of them. And we have a little bit of a discount if you get all 3 books at once. You can add any of this stuff on, all the old issues that we talked about, Depowered, CPS, any of the variants, Bulletproof Chicken. You can, once you go to add-ons, you can add on whatever you want.
Wow.
We try to just make it a la carte, easy to order.
Yeah.
We've done pre-orders, and I mentioned we're doing one now. And
Metal
we usually get a good response. But,
sorry.
For some reason, the excitement of Kickstarter, that brings the most backers and the most, I could easily post the next issue of Depowered on the site and it'll get a dozen or so pre-orders. But if I, do a Kickstarter like this, we get 60, 75, 100. So it's always been something I'm trying to figure out. What is it that gets people excited? I mean, yes, of course we do the perks and the add-ons and the free stickers. People love that kind of stuff, but I still don't understand the phenomenon of the Kickstarter. People just get excited about it, support.
I don't know. I would love to figure that out myself because, of course, as a creator, our goal is to do it on our own site. Just because then we don't have to pay the middleman for putting them. It's like all the same stuff can be on my website. Exact same stuff, right?
Yep.
I don't have to pay 10% to a middleman.
Right. And it really, you talked about, we talked about balancing the plates and all we have to do. I mean, setting these things up is such a task, especially now when you get into having 20 books that you have to list. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So
we're just building all the graphics. Like people don't realize, like, see this picture here of on the right where there's the metal chicken? That we have to build those graphics to a specific size because that's what fits here. And it's like,
it's a lot.
It's just a lot of busy work. That's why I'm
but
always
Marco.
I'm always ramping on Marco, like, where's my cover?
Yeah, and I did 6x9. It's like,
right.
I'm grateful. Bob Gar also taught me a lot about Photoshop and things early on, and so to be able to do that and not have to harass somebody else, I'm grateful for it. But it is a lot of work, when you're trying to do the other things, write letter, and get these books out. So,
like, I have 7,000 things to do. But I think as time goes on, we get better at it. But then it's like you get better at it, and then Kickstarter will change stuff, and then you don't know anything.
Yeah, you see this on the side here. They just added this. I don't even know what this.
Yeah, this thing on the side. Yeah. Well, they changed because it'll go to like different sections. If you put like it's a heading, it'll have it as a section where people can like get down there. Oh, right. But what's funny, John, when I was building Kickstarter, stuff was not here. And then like before I launched, they updated the how you add stuff to your story. And I was like, what the heck? Like now it's all like mismatched because some things were added before and some things are added after. And I was like, I'm not doing it all again.
Like they added mine right after it launched. So now mine don't make a lot of sense. But you do kind of have the little
like
why?
But they did this to me last year. Like I feel like no, it was issue number 3. Like they added the graphics for the rewards literally the day before we launched. And I was like, oh, I got to create like 25 graphics. Oh so again, it's like you think you're prepared. It's like having kids. You're not prepared.
Never prepared. Never prepared.
Oh, man. Drumsticks of Doom for everybody who's interested.
here it is. Here's a little elevator pitch. When Black Sabbath, not the Beatles, becomes the world's most famous band, the universe was changed musically and otherwise. Lost arts like alchemy were made common. Schools taught about transfiguration and alternate science. Demons were summoned, and some stuck around. Really? That just cracks me up. It's like if Black Sabbath became the most famous band in the world, life as we know it would be ultimately different, which is hilarious. Like, it wasn't it your picture? Was it your picture? No, it was Chris Tomasina's picture where it was like there's Chihulu in the background and like there's just some sales meeting going on. The guy's like, you know, looking at this chart, which is through the roof. And I'm like, wouldn't it be something funny if it's just completely unrelated? Like Chihulu is here and the sale of marshmallows has skyrocketed. Like, makes no sense. So,
and I have several stories kind of in that vein, like Child Possession Services or Drumsticks of Doom. The first one I did with Bob Gar was called Apocalypse Meh, and very much in that vein of the world has ended, but life goes on. You still have to go to work. Your job sucks. And maybe I'm getting a little bit too predictable, but I those are the kind of stories I like where, yes, there might be some quest they're going on or some big thing, but in the end, it's just they've adjusted to life. And Drumsticks of Doom is very much like that. Demons have been around for a while. You know, they run the local music venue by you or the music shop, but, you know, they're just kind of part of the background now. But there also is this kind of mysterious cabal that wants to keep heavy metal as the best in the world. And Lana gets drawn into an epic battle with them when she finds these magical pair of drumsticks at the shop. So that was how Drumsticks of Doom started.
That's cool.
We did get you mentioned earlier you got the metal covers. It took me a while to convert to stuff like that. Variants, metal covers. I was like, I don't want to do these gimmicky things, but I still remember the first time I was at C2E2 and I picked up
metal
Lady
cover.
Death. Yeah, I picked it up, Lady Death by Brian Pulido, and I was like, this is the coolest cover I've ever seen in my life. I have a heavy metal comic. Yeah. Why don't I have heavy metal cover?
Yes.
Here's the most recent one we got, and they're very hard to video.
I know. Here's the thing, people. Metal covers, it never does them justice to see them on video or in picture. They are so cool. If you can hold one in your hand, they are just awesome. Yeah. And I mean, like, they're so shiny and the weight to them, they're amazing. So if you ever have the funds and you want to go that way, I highly recommend getting a metal cover. They are an amazing feeling. It's an amazing purchase. And the fact that you have medals of Bulletproof Chicken and Drumsticks of Doom is just amazing.
Yeah, they're really
Do you have
cool.
them for all of them?
I did Drumsticks of Doom, you know, heavy metal, fit the theme. Right now we're testing out Bulletproof Chicken. See if people want, you know, the metal cover. So that is actual real metal. You know, we're not talking hollow foil or it's a thick piece of metal on the front of your cover.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool. So I do have, you know, I have plenty of issues of copies of issue 1. So I figured, you know what, let's slap some metal covers on there. See if people want to get them. I don't have those in my hands yet, but I'm ready to order a big stack if people are interested.
Yes. What's this 100-piece chicken, please? Tell me.
So I made a joke earlier about my closet being full. I way over anticipated the success of Bulletproof Chicken a decade ago. We had an amazing Kickstarter. It was my first, you know, huge success. And boy, do I still have a lot of back stock. So you know what? If you want them for your shop, you want them to hand out at Halloween, that is not a joke. I will mail you 100 copies for $100 plus shipping.
Dude, it's like $1 each. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that we sell them for $4 or more each. So you know what? You make some money off of it if you want. But yeah,
there you go.
I'm interested to see if that one goes because, again, I love Bulletproof Chicken. I love the character, but yeah, I went a little too hard on ordering the books. So it's time to move them on to a new home.
Yeah. Get them, everybody. Get your 100-piece McNugget. There you go.
100-piece.
Oh, look at this. Everything in the campaign. What? 13 books.
All the variants for the 2 series, all the covers for Bulletproof Chicken. You can get it all.
$100.
I guess I should have said everything minus the metal. Oops, sorry. Doesn't include the metal cover, but
right.
You can add it
Doesn't include the metal.
Or you can advertise with us. You know, that's our last couple tiers at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, we've had good success with that in the past. You know, we'll share it out on social media. We'll share you in all of our updates. People have liked the advertising tier. You know, it does help a lot. we'll help get your name out there. You help us get these books in print. Get yourself a nice big full cover ad page.
Yes.
And in the case of
Charles,
Chicken, right on the back.
Charles is interested, man. Charles here is the manager over at Geek Out in Burleson, which is an amazing store. I'm going to be there on Sunday, setting up and then delivering all Charles's stuff from the last campaign. But he's definitely interested. I will get you his information. So you could be in a bookstore here in Texas.
Nice.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Even after 15 years, it can be difficult, to get retailers to take a risk. We usually offer at least 50% off. I've mailed publishers or bookstores books for free. If you guys are willing to help us advertise in that way, I'm definitely always down to talk to a bookstore who's willing to do that. Because I know shelf space is hard. Can't put everything out there. So I really do appreciate it. We have some great ones here in Chicago that have been very supportive. So I'm very lucky in that regard.
Yep. Yes. Retailers, we love you. We love you so much that if you want to back our campaign, we will custom make you a whatever you want. I was like, seriously, you just tell me what you want and we'll put it up there and you can grab it for reals. All good stuff. So all right. So where are we? We went through the books. We went shopping. Let's talk about some stretch goals.
Stretch goals. You get some free PDFs. We have some amazing friends. Laurie and I are part of a very active indie creator group. It never ceases to amaze me how willing people are to help each other. And most times, whether or not you've helped them or not, people are like, hey, throw my book in your campaign. So we, just over our goal, you'll automatically get a free PDF, Mandrill PI, the awesome fits the theme, anthropomorphic detective work that we got going here. I thought that was a good choice. You'll get that. And then we have Bulletproof Chicken logo sticker right after that. So our minimum goal is what it is.
Sorry, I just got it. Anyway,
we set our goals pretty low as far as stretch goals because we want to reach our minimum funding, but there's a bigger goal at hand. I really need a little bit more to get these, the books that I want printed and all the special covers and everything. So, I want to give you incentive for backing. So right after you back, free PDF. There you go. You get something bonus. And free sticker. 2 more PDFs. Again, awesome people. Donated, again, going similar with the theme. Bixby Grant is a private eye. He's a mummy. You got Miss Medusa and her monstrous menagerie from our friend Laurie Foster and her teams over there. So again,
amazing.
Those are right away. You're going to get 3 awesome books to add to all the books that you're already getting. And then we have another logo sticker. I did the pixel art for Dax from Depowered there. Cool. And then we'll see. 5,000. We might have another goal in mind. We'll see if we get there.
Surprise! You need my GIF. Get ready for a surprise.
Totally
yeah, blow them up. There you go. I love that you put this. I put this on mine too. That who you're printing with. We're committed to printing in the U.S. Comics Wellspring is in Michigan. They're a great shop. I've used them before. And I love that they give discounts if you advertise with them too. So if you are a creator and you print with Comics Wellspring and you promote them, they give you some discounts, which is awesome. So
it is awesome. I'm a sucker for those discounts. Saves us a lot. Man. And for those who don't know as well, Comics Wellspring, if you group books together that you're printing like this, it might be a little extra stress to get them all there at the same time. But you get discounts as you print more. Not all printers do that. Most printers, if you print like so many of one book, you get a discount for that book. Comics Wellspring, if I print 100 of this, 100 of this, and 50 of this, you get that first discount. And then if I do 500 altogether, I get that discount. So when I reprint books and stuff, it really saves a lot. So they're a great printer to use for short run books, as most of us indie guys have to do, guys and gals, because we can't print 10,000 books. We have to print 100 or 200. So
I guess we could print them and just put them in John's closet.
If I get some space in there, you could store them, but I've made that mistake a couple times now. But there is nothing better than that thrill of getting like 1,000 of your books delivered, and you're like, this is amazing. And then 5 years later, it's not as amazing. But
You're like, I have books. When the wife was like, where are we putting these books, John?
When you've moved to, 2 different houses and they have to follow you with, then they really don't like you. And your friends are like, I'm not moving you anymore.
Right. I don't care how much pizza and beer is involved. I'm not moving your books again. That's funny. Oh yeah, hey guys, we have Roku ad space available for comic store owners as well. If for my show, I will do a smash ad for you where I will write your name of your store or your book or whatever creator you want. Put it on a pumpkin. I'll smash it to smithereens in a Pikachu suit, and I'll play it in as part of my ad space in my show. And I'll send you a copy too, so you can use it for your own promotion. So there's lots of cool stuff on there. There's not just my show. There's ad space for just about everything. So make sure you go check out that Roku. We're trying to build that. If you're a creator, it's the place to be. If you're a fan, we got lots of PDFs. I actually went and backed Six Gun Gorilla, because that's one I've been really wanting to read. And Brian put it up there, all 6 PDFs. So I was like, yoink, I want that. Thank you. So I was excited for that. I don't know. Have you read Six Gun Gorilla, John?
I have not. I've seen it for years, and it's just one I haven't picked up yet. I'll have to get it up.
Yeah, me too. Where I'm just like, I really want to read that. Okay, going back to life. And now I'm like, oh, I need to get that. Says I need to get with Pops on that. Yeah, working on the second store for me. I hear you, man. Yeah, and I'm hoping that I will be there for your grand opening in the new store. I'm excited for that. Marco is super excited for that because he's right around the corner. So he'll be like eating lunch in your store all the time. I'm like, get out, Marco. Just kidding.
Let me jump in here real quick. Charles.
Uh-oh.
If you go look at the campaign, you can pick the level that you're looking at and go ahead and reserve it now, and we'll put it up whenever you want next year. It's not like it's got to play in the first month of the year or whatever. If you ain't ready till March, we play it in, like February leading up to March or whatever. But go back in now, go back to level you're thinking about now. You don't get charged until the end of the campaign anyway, but it helps us build that thing up. So go look at the Roku campaign. Check that out. Okay, bye.
Check it out. And as we always say, we know times are tough for a lot of people. A share goes a long way. Even if you think you have 3 friends on social media, people tell me that all the time. I have the same friends as you. I don't have it. Share it out. It's all a snowball effect. It helps. We most of us can't, afford a publicist or something like that. We need those shares really help.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great way to support your friends if you don't have the funds. You know what I mean? It's like I can't afford to back, or it's like maybe I can only afford to back PDF level. But I can share because that's free. I can share as many times as it doesn't cost me a dime. That's the best thing about it, is to help get a new audience and everything. Get it all ready? All right, fine, I'll play it. Ready? Here you go.
Just back it already.
That's what Quentin was saying. Oh, we have this one too. I like that one too. Yeah. So many Kickstarters are live right now. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So people can really support indie. Indie is like where it's at though, man. I don't know, John. We can't find stuff like CPS or Bulletproof Chicken in anything remotely as cool as that in like bigger publishers. You just can't.
And I mentioned earlier, how Bulletproof Chicken came, it's just this idea, and you just jump on the excitement of it and knock it out. And I think that is really the joy that's in indie comics, right? It's again one of those mediums where you have total creative control, especially if you're a writer artist, right? You can sit down and do whatever you want, and you just don't see that in other mediums, right? TV, you're always going to have somebody barking in your ear, even if you do YouTube stuff,
right.
You're going to be beholden to them. Movies, maybe in novels, of course, you could write your own vision as a novel, but comics is just one of those unique mediums where you can just do whatever you want, however you want. And I love it. And people tell me all the time, I'm not really into comics right now. I can't find anything. I'm like, then you are not looking at all, because you're literally in the golden age. This is every week, world-class comics come out from publishers, from indies, from everywhere. If you just spend a little time looking, and comics are the best. There's the best stories come out. Like I said, every week you're going to find one or more, just ones that change your life in a store. Now, I'm not saying I'm in that crowd, but I certainly feel like we put out books that, like you said, are unique and fun
Yes.
and enjoyable, and you won't see
Yes.
on the TVs or movie screens. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I was just on a show, I don't know, last month where we were talking about the whole debate was who had better character development, Marvel or DC? And because we know that they keep resetting characters or they're overpowered where you can't really develop them if they don't have any flaws, stuff like that. And I was just like, if you want character development, you don't read Marvel and DC. You
Right.
read indie, right? Even if it's Image, right? Because what you need is a property that's been written by one author who has a path in mind or an arc in mind for their characters and gets to see it all the way through and then it ends. If you have these legacy stories that just go on forever and they're written by multiple people, it's hard to maintain canon over 70 years, something ridiculous. And it's like,
Right.
that's why they just keep getting reset. So it's like,
Right.
there is no, you can't, you have to go to indie if you want good character driven story, you know, great art. It's like, it's all there when you go to indie. It's hard to find that in something that's been around for so long.
I agree. And I was someone who didn't really branch out until his mid-20s. You know, I'd been reading for about a decade and was kind of burnt out on, you know, Spider-Man and those books. And that's not to say there aren't good stories there, but you're right. If you're really
Right.
looking for those memorable, like you said, character-driven, not IP-driven stories, again, that's not to say indie doesn't have that as well, but I think you're more likely to find it in indie books because you're right. It's going to be a small creative team with a vision in mind. And to me, that's more satisfying stories than, like you said, you know, I read this epic conclusion to this Flash story, but a week later they kind of reset it back because they have to. That's by design. I'm not upset with them for it, but you know, let that be your starting point, and then come over to the indie world like I did. Again, took me a while to find the great stories and really branch out of my comfort zone. And now again, you know, you probably see behind me. I mean, I just have walls and walls of books that I just don't want to give up because they're just better than anything else out there.
Right. Charles says, as a retailer, the big studio's success drives the indies. I prefer indies, but the masses levitate to the familiar things, which is true. And when the big guys are doing well, it makes indie pivot easy. Agreed. So I guess
I definitely believe that too.
Benefit
it does all benefit together for sure.
Yeah.
Because you got to get them through the door first. You can't do that if you know, they don't know what these books are. So I definitely know that part of it.
Right. And the hard part about being indie is that people don't know we exist, right? We don't have the marketing dollars that a Marvel and DC carry. So people might really like what John is doing, but have no idea he exists. So our goal is to try and help them find you, right? That's the goal. So so that way we can all succeed as well. Putting a random indie in a normie's hand is a hard sell a lot of times because it's hard to build trust with that reader. Agreed.
Right.
Like,
and some of that
hard
is
to sell.
you know, indie's own pitfalls. You know, like you see, Depowered took almost 2 years to finish, you know, a very short miniseries. So some of it's about the speed that they come out. Some of it's about how we market ourselves, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But you're right, and we're the same way, right? I walk through Artist Alley multiple times a year, and it still even takes me a little bit to pick up those indie books. But you know, you find your readers, and you find those who want to support you. And you know, we don't have also the huge overhead costs, so I don't need 10,000 readers. I just need a few hundred, and then we're good to go.
This is also true.
So there's definitely always benefits to coming back, and then you control your own stories. You can do with it what you want, and that's a huge deal too. I've only had a couple
there is
of
no.
opportunities. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there is no like green lighting process where it's like you have to pitch to them before they even allow you to make your story. That's the cool thing about it is like you have complete creative control. This is where my story is going. I'm taking it there, right? There isn't someone else that with their finger over the button that says no. You know what I mean? Like you can't do that. You can't talk about that subject. You can't go across that line. You know what I mean? It's like we can do that.
We can do that. And yeah, I never had these big aspirations to be a writer or to write, you know, for Marvel or anything like that. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I was just not somebody who that wasn't what I wanted to do. it really was. I got out of being in a band for a long time, and I was looking for something creative to do, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the creation process. I enjoy holding these books in my hand, and it started out as, like your intro video. We used to do videos when I was in high school and college, and make each other laugh, and whatever. Then it was being in a band, and now it's comics. I just like to create and collaborate with people, and just kind of have something that we can look back on. Of course, we need backers and supporters to keep it going, but I just enjoy, being part of a creative team. It's just something I've always enjoyed.
That's awesome. And I'm with you with the music. Like I haven't been in a band per se, but I was in a string quartet. I'm on the other side of the nerd spectrum on that one. Like, hey, rock and roll. And I'm like, I play classical music, but I do have an electric cello, and I can play Metallica on it. So, which I've done, which is great, but not really too much of a call for cello Metallica. Just saying.
Yeah, I tried. My daughter wants to play cello, and I kept telling her, she want to play something more commercial like guitar, but maybe I'll just let her pick what she wants.
Hey man,
just play music.
Great. Yeah, play music. Let your soul sing. You know what I mean? Like you gotta spend time slogging through the basics. And then after that, once you get your fingers straight, then you're good. Here, people are conditioned to buy the brand and not the content. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Mm-hmm. So, John, when it comes to writing, I want to pick your brain a little bit about your writing process. When you have a great idea, and you said people kind of like reel you into that idea, so that way you can like pinpoint where you're going. But do you like write the beginning, write the end, write the middle? Do you start at the beginning and write through and see where your characters go? Like, what's your process here?
I'm mostly like a character moment guy. Like in Jumpsuits of Doom case, this is not a huge spoiler. The preview's out online. Basically, Lana's at practice. A werewolf busts through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
The initial idea was that scene. She's late for practice. She's listening on her headphones. I wanted to do a music story. At the time, I didn't even know, who the main character was. And I was like, I just kind of had this feel about this slice of life story that was more about my transition from wanting to play music to understanding that probably wasn't going to be part of my future. And how do you kind of handle that? So I just kind of had this feeling, and then I was like, okay, it's a young woman. She's going to practice. She plays bass, but she really plays drums. But she plays bass because she's just kind of in this band. And I was like, well, I kind of need something to happen, right? Nobody's going to read. I'm not Jaime Hernandez. No one's going to read my slice of life music book. So I'll have a werewolf jump through the wall, And then I'm like, well, why the hell is the werewolf there? And then that built the world from there. And then it was like, oh, werewolf's there because Black Sabbath, opened the gates of hell. And now it's like all those things your grandparents told you would happen if you listen to heavy metal, they actually happen. So the story.
It's a boomer's worst nightmare.
And it came in reverse. And Depowered was the same thing. It was like, I have this ex superhero. He's fallen from a building and he's sitting there feeling sorry for himself. And this kid kind of walks up to him. And I was like, well, how did he get there? Why is he there? Well, and then we kind of built the story from there. I'm very much like that. Again, Connie was the same way. It was kind of a joke. She goes to this house. She doesn't want to be there. She's got a date she's going on later, and this kid, is possessed, and she's got to get the demon out of him quick before she has to, go on her date. And then it was like, okay, what's the real story there? What's the character that's not just going to be this funny one-note joke? So I'm very much like that. A lot of people do big concept down and find their characters. I'm usually like, what's this person doing? And then build the world around them.
Do you always have an end in mind, or do you have to figure out the ending? I'm just curious.
I mostly I kind of have an idea where I want the character to go and what might happen because of that. I think that helps rein me in. Otherwise, I'll be writing these, hundreds and hundreds of pages, and then people won't have time to draw them. So I've definitely let stories get away from me by being inexperienced. So I definitely try to at least have, let's get a couple of key plot points and then keep it a little loose. Then we can get there however we get there. But there should be an idea of the end. Otherwise, I might be 80 years old and not get there. So I've had a couple, like my first story really just got away from me. It was just like, I just kept going moment to moment and just enjoying writing. And then my artist is like, well, where are we going to wrap this story up at? I'm like, okay, let's move on to something else then, because this one's gotten away from us.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, if I don't know, like for me, I want to know where my character is going so I can develop them accordingly. Because I hate fluff. I don't know about you, but like I'm a Walking Dead fan, both comics and show. But I would get frustrated with the show when they would like have this big moment. They light the barn on fire, it burns down. There's all these zombies, people are getting bit. Oh my god, so and so. And then the next issue is like, we're looking for flowers, and it's like, what? Like nothing happens for like three episodes after the big moment because they need to take a break. Not every episode can be big. F that. Every episode can be big when you're doing comics.
For sure.
Because we don't have the production cost overhead, right? It doesn't cost $6 million to make it this issue versus, $10,000 to make this issue. It's like all the issues can be around, but we can just go crazy. So that's why I was like, I don't want fluff. So if I don't know where my character is going, and we meander too far, then I get fluff. And I hate it.
Yeah. I like a little fluff, but I am real bad as far as writing. I'll often get to the end and not realize maybe a scene is redundant or needs to be cut. So I've gotten better about that now. I try to, make sure I'm far enough ahead so that I can critique those earlier issues and say, okay, you know what, this scene is probably not necessary, or I'm also it's just like with Bulletproof Chicken. I'm very much, when I get like a joke or a scene in my head, I have a hard time letting go of it. Like I'm like, I just need this moment needs to happen where it's like a funny thing between it. So, but I feel like that does build some sort of a voice or character to the universe too. But I do try to trim the fat as much as I can, because it is comics, like you said. We don't have the budget, but we have to be realistic, right? We can't, every issue can't be 60 pages of
the adventures of Chicken,
right?
Like, when is it gonna fight the bad guy?
Right. And that's no fluff. I mean, most of those stories are short, so it's like, get in there, chop some people's heads off, shoot some people.
I'm with you on that. Chop some people's heads off, move on.
But I'm definitely still learning. I'm not a student of writing. I don't seek out like a lot of literature on it. I just kind of go with my gut. Again, I've been kind of creating things with friends for a long time, so I just try to go with what feels right, what works and what doesn't. People give me feedback, and again, I'm the publisher, so I can put it out.
That's always the bonus too. Like, hey, so you have created 15 Kickstarters according to what I'm looking at. Is that an accurate number?
15 Kickstarters. This is my only Kickstarter account. 2 Indiegogos. A chip-in we did a long time ago. That was one of the first fundraising sites. That was a long time ago. So yeah, I've done about 20 of them now.
Wow. What's some advice for anybody that's watching that is going to run maybe their first Kickstarter?
If you're running your first Kickstarter, I think the biggest advice that I can give you is start small. Do a 12-page ash can book preview of your comic. That's $500 to fund or something like that. Barring that, again, just keep it realistic. Do not, launch your first campaign, for $5,000 or $6,000. Yes, we have peers that have succeeded. Some in this room right now.
Me.
Do it if you think you can do it. If you got the people around you, do it. But otherwise, don't feel like the first Kickstarter has to be 5 figures, right? You can build on them, right? So do a $1,000 Kickstarter, do a $2,000. I feel like anybody can get 100 people to give them $20, and then you'll have $2,000. You'll have your first one funded. I feel like anybody can do that. But now when you're getting into 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, now you need 200 backers, 300 backers, 400, and that's when people get into trouble. So launch something simple, something small, and then if you want to relaunch it again as another version, or with the second issue you want to go a little bigger, do that. But get that success under your belt, and that'll build confidence. You'll have a couple backers, in your queue that are willing to come back maybe for the second one. So I always tell people start small. And the same thing with writing. Write a 12-page story before you write a 900-page story. Again, we have some peers who break that, and one of them may even be in the chat right now. You can do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I would never tell you. As a social worker, I don't tell my clients what I'm just saying, temper your expectations a little bit, set realistic goals, and that will
set realistic goals. There we go.
That will keep
I
you
like
from
that.
getting burnt out. because I see a lot of people do 1 or 2 issues and they burn themselves out because they're like, I had a failed Kickstarter. I'm the worst writer ever. No, that there's so many factors in a Kickstarter crowdfunder that you can't control. That's not failure. You still have your story. So don't set yourself up for failure, I guess is what I'm saying. Set realistic goals, and then each success will then build on it. Because ours didn't, I was naive to the process then, but we had, a $700 Kickstarter, and then Bulletproof Chicken was like a $2,000 Kickstarter, and then we built on that. Now that was again 15 years ago. Things are different, but that's what I would do if I had to do it all over again.
Yeah, and if anybody's watching that is interested, I just want to piggyback on that. Find your community. There's a lot of people. Wow, there's a lot of people in the community that are willing to share their experience, what they did well, what worked, and what didn't work. So there's a lot of people out there that can give you advice, and just remember to take all the advice with a grain of salt, because you're going to get 4,000 opinions about how to run a Kickstarter successfully, and some things will work for you and some things won't. So
for sure. Yeah, and that's a big part of it too, and that doesn't always come right away, right? And it's not as easy just to say, here's my community, I found them. Go to conventions, introduce yourself, find people online, join chat groups, go on social media, and then then you have those people that support you, can answer questions for you when you're confused about something, can give you advice, can retweet your stuff out when you're struggling and not feeling like going on social media that day. You kind of have your people to back you. That really helps.
Yeah, Charles has a good point right now. There's a lot of Kickstarters right now, and it's a lot to choose from. So starting small and manageable makes things much more palatable.
Yeah, and that may be some of the struggle you're seeing with mine right now. This is something I've done before. This is just something I do as part of our plan. I can't run 5 or 6 a year, so I bulk books together, but that does make it a harder sell. And I understand that going in. 10 years ago when I had my first failure with the multi-campaign book, I was, upset. But I didn't understand that I was getting in my own way by launching multiple books at once. That's something, most people would never suggest doing 2 or 3 different properties at once. But again, I kind of know Part-Time Comics has their core audience. I know the backers will come. But you see, right. I'm struggling. I haven't struggled this much in a decade from launch. So, it happens even to those of us who've been doing this a long time too. But you're right. This is a tough time to launch. September to October is huge for Kickstarters.
Huge.
As I'm sure you're finding out. So, sometimes there just isn't a great day to hit that launch button. You just kind of have to go out there and see what happens.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's so many things that factor into those launch dates. Like for me, it's not just my time frame, but it's Marco's time frame. Like he works on 3 books. So him and I have to look in advance at his calendar and make sure when he's going to be available to work on Path of the Pale Rider, as opposed to, all of that. So it all factors in. And it's hard when you're producing, like Carissa does so many launches a year that like some months are better than others. And it's just like, you can't compare them when, but the bonus is when she's successful, she gets out like 6 books a year, which is insane. And for me, I'm doing like 2 books a year. So I don't want to push off that launch. I want to launch so I can get those 2 books a year. We're trying to push to like 3 if we can, and then hopefully to 4. Would love to do every 3 months, but again, it just depends on how things go. James, we're with you. Just launching in preparing and getting those books there is a success in my book as well. But if unfortunately with Kickstarter, when it's all or nothing, if you don't hit that financial goal that you set for the campaign, you get nothing. So that's what we're defining as failure, is not hitting that goal and getting those funds to financially support the goal. However, you can always do it again.
Yeah. And like James said, I think oftentimes we get focused on that financial goal. And as we've said many times, it is hugely important. We need to pay our teams. We need to pay to print the books. We're not, none of us are rich, or we'd be hiring other people to do the stuff for it.
Right.
So you're right. That is a part of success, but there is more to success than just that financial goal. So please, if you do have a bump in the road, as I just did, I mentioned with Depowered, we had multiple bumps. Figure out what the plan is after that. Lick your wounds for a couple days, feel sorry for yourself. That's okay. It's okay to get down a little bit, but get back up and figure out what the plan is from there.
Yeah. And I think that's really what defines people in this industry, because it's hard on everyone. You're not going to look at someone who thinks, you may look at someone who you think is majorly successful and not realize that maybe they didn't calculate their budget correctly and they're paying out of pocket. It doesn't matter what the dollar amount that they got. You know what I mean? You never know how much their overhead is. So Charles, finding the audience is an important part. Yes. Honestly, the people that do the legwork are the ones, as a reader and a retailer, are the ones I'm more inclined to support. Finding an audience is so hard. And the people out there that are working, like John and Carissa and like all the people in our chat group, are just amazing at what they do. There's so many hardworking indies out there that are willing to put in the work and go at this time and time again. It's like childbirth. I was talking with Morgan Quaid about this, where it's like you're a male, so you don't quite understand this, but having a baby is a painful experience, to put it lightly. And it's a terrible experience on your body, but we're willing to do it multiple times because of the joy. And then you kind of forget like the pain and the suffering. And that's what a Kickstarter is you emotionally suffer. Am I wrong? It's like this.
Nose and lips. Okay, ow. Please, Mr. Oh!
Yeah.
It is a lot like that. I've been in the room 2 times for my wife to give birth, so I definitely doesn't look fun, but I think that's an apt comparison. And you're right. You know what? You get back up and you do it again. Now, that being said, if you can't financially afford it, I'm not encouraging people I love the statements that people make, the buzzword, follow your dreams and all that. Again, be realistic. Don't put your important relationships at risk, because you're not honest with your spouse about how much you're spending. I've made that mistake before too. It puts unnecessary strain. So be realistic. Again, you might really want to do 6 books a year, but you can't support that if one stumbles. So, set out a realistic goal for what works for you and those closest to you, because they're going to be impacted by it too. And that includes your time too, because most of us will never get back the time, right? As many hours as we put in, we end up making a penny or less an hour on all these creative projects. You know how that goes. Same thing with being in a band or anything else. So those of us who are used to it, that's just what we do, right? We play in bands, we create things, we spend a lot of hours doing it, but you have to kind of come out of yourself sometimes and say, okay, what's a realistic amount of time where I'm not taking time away from family or doing it? Is it 5 hours a week? Is it 10? And then, try to work with that too, because, there's other things outside of yourself that are important too. So that's just, my little spiel. Because again, I think that's why a lot of people get burnt out. They fight with their spouse, their kids aren't happy, whatever, because they're not setting realistic. Because again, you might have that 20-issue series in mind, but getting a one shot out is fulfilling. Doing an anthology with your peers is fulfilling. So if you can't right now do that big story, find a way, to scratch that itch, so to speak. That's realistic for you where you're at,
We agree with you, Doc. The older you get, you realize how valuable your time is. And you bring up a really good point here. Oh, well, someone's been zombified. I need to do you a better one. That one is like flat. It's flat. For those of you that are on socials, if you see random zombified people profile pics today, we're doing a whatchamacallit, digital flash mob.
Digital flash mob.
And if you decide not to do the digital flash mob, that's okay. If you were zombified, you'll end up in the short film. Hey.
I got to say hi to Hojo. Hojo, last night, your boy Ron did give your message to Chuck Dixon.
Did.
Just so you know, if you want to go back and watch Romo last night on the channel, you can check it out and you can see It was cool. It was cool.
I witnessed. But here's a question I have for you, John. It says, after you find your audience, get to know your audience. What's your method of doing that? Like, how do you try and interact with your audience?
I mean, some of it is paying attention to what they support, right? Like, again, I don't like variant covers. I feel like that's always just been something I don't support as a buyer. I feel like it's gimmicky, but it's not for me to decide necessarily. If I have cool people I want to work with and they fit with the book, then I offer it up to the audience. If they, buy 10 of them, then they like it. If they buy 50, then I know they really like that person. You know what I mean? Same thing with the metal covers. If I sold one the first campaign, then maybe I don't do them. Stickers, whatever else you're doing, whatever products you're doing. So pay attention to that. What's selling best? I'd love to answer the question more eloquently than that, but I am not the best at paying attention to that. I do know the 50 to 75 names that come back to our book, so I kind of know that they seem to like the brand that we're putting out there. So I'm going to continue to do that. But I do need to do a better job with that too. Getting feedback from them. I do have some very vocal fans, which is great. They'll step up and say, a lot of them said, you have this campaign called Drumsticks of Doom. Why are there no drumsticks? I bit the bullet and said, all right, you want drumsticks? Here's your drumstick. And they went, they sold like hotcakes. So
Yep.
So in that regard, I do try to listen. If they seem to like something in a story, then again, be flexible. We had a huge response to the character we created in the third book, Argyle the Arachnigator, who's a spider and an alligator, hybrid together. And, he'll be coming back because people seem to like that kind of stuff. So
be careful. Carissa's going to want you to make a plushie.
I already talked to her about it. I already got her plushie person online. So
I knew it. I knew it.
Look, we gave him one message. We're not a secretary, man. We gave him one message. Go watch him and then reach out. He's in the Comic Related Madness on Facebook. He's not hard to find, and he does respond to people. Huh, Laurie? Yes.
He does. Sorry, I was having fun. Yeah, Charles is correct on this too. Variants are a slippery slope. It's gotten out of hand. I mean, I like them. I like doing them. I like bringing in other artists to kind of like get their view and like introduce Path of the Pale Rider to other audiences. But yeah, they cost money. And sometimes I get my money back and sometimes I don't. Just depends on what you're spending there and how big of a footprint that artist has. But I think sometimes when there's like 20 variants, it's like, are they exclusive at this point when you have that many different covers? That's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. At what point is it too much?
Yeah, and I know that that's a big part of comics, and that really helps. I mean, again, I might not even be sitting here on Drumsticks of Doom issue 4 if it wasn't for them. So I get that they really do support books, but I still struggle with the price point, how many I want to do. I do feel like as a consumer, if I look at a campaign and it has more than 4 covers, my eyes start to kind of glaze over. That's too many. So, but I know most people, stick to that 3 to 5, range, depending on what their audience is. But yeah, but there's people who are ravenous for them. They'll pay $50, $100 for a book. And you're right. As you get into more, though, you're probably printing less, right? So that 20th cover might get a print run of 25. That's pretty low. So yeah, people are into that. Again, it's not for me to say. I put out, the ones I like, the artists I want to work with that do cool, rad covers. And then if people also buy them for a little extra scratch, it helps the books.
Right. And again, it just depends on your audience, your fan base. Everybody does theirs a little differently, and power to. Yeah, that's what's so cool about indie is you can run it how you want to run it.
There you go. Your audience will tell you if they want it or not.
So where do you plan on going next? You're finishing up 2 of these series. You have more series planned, or what's next? What's next for John?
My hope is for CPS to continue. Now, Bob needs to step aside on art duty, so he and I are going to talk about what the future is for Connie and her universe. I'd like CPS to continue. The only immediate plans I have for sure right now is for Drumsticks of Doom to get into its second arc in 2024. Yes. And that will start early in the year with our first trade paperback from Part-Time Comics. I've done a couple of small ones before, but this is a big step for Part-Time Comics. I mean, having the graphic novel, having that bigger book for the table to sell and all that, I think it's going to be a huge step. So that's going to be my focus for early 2024. That does well. You know, I think Dan and I can launch into the next miniseries for Drumsticks of Doom in 2024 as well. I have a couple of other new projects in various stages behind the scenes, but I really just kind of want to focus on that Drumsticks of Doom trade.
I was like, exclusive. Tell us.
I'll come back on when the exclusive is
All
ready.
right, okay. I was like, I need to know, and I need you to tell here on the Tuesday Morning Brew before you tell anybody else.
Well, in our two anthologies, the Simpsons tribute anthology and the Magic the Gathering tribute anthology, people haven't seen those. Those started as a bad idea from a friend, like, hey, we should do a Simpsons anthology, or we should do. I'm always up for taking on a bad idea. So if somebody wants to throw one out there, every year I go in, it's thinking I have a schedule for what books I want to put out.
Yeah.
And every year it changes. So I'm always happy to just throw another one into the fire and see what comes out.
That's funny. Well, you and I will probably be producing trade paperbacks around the same time, so we can be each other's support system. I've been watching Carissa because she's going through that right now, and I'm like, oh, your headaches? I want to learn from all your headaches. You can be the guinea pig, please. There
you go.
So you and I can be like, what are you doing? I'm doing this. Oh yeah, let me look at that too.
Yep.
Please,
learn
let's
from
do that.
each other. Don't make the same mistakes I made.
Yeah, it takes a village sometimes, you know. It's like those trade paperbacks are like our children. We need you.
It's a great thing. It's a great feeling when you get there. And again, I've been able to be part of it a couple other times for short runs, but I'm really hoping people respond well to Drumsticks of Doom. It's going to be a huge point for the series. So that'll kind of be the focus mostly in 2024, and we'll see what other things fall in place.
Ooh, Lacey is a friend of the shop, so I'll lean on her cover for POTPR4. Awesome. Lacey's cover turned out amazing. Charles, we need to talk. No,
yeah, I just recently met her, probably through you on Facebook or
Lacey,
something, but she's great.
She's awesome. She's newer to the scene. She just she does these really amazing. Oh my gosh, we were just talking today about her chicken nugget series. It's so funny. Speaking of chicken nuggets, but she does these like real cool, I don't know what to call it, juxtaposition of images where like one half is like these beautiful floral arrangements and the other half is like half of Freddy Krueger's face. You know what I mean? Like it's just, they work. It's amazing. So she started there, and that's kind of why I tapped her for POTPR4, is because in this next issue, everything kind of falls down. It's like we leave what is the norm and then we go into what is the new norm. So it's a very distinct break between the two of these competing ideas. So I think she was able to capture that in her cover. And it was like dark and foreboding and beautiful and haunting. And she just crammed so much stuff in there. It was awesome. So, yeah, but she's doing these nugget things. I was like, can we do a chicken nugget, Big James? Because I want to see that. Yeah, like, yes. And that's so funny that you say that, because that came up like twice. There's been two other people that have compared that cover to Peach. Jeffrey Cotton was even like, he put a peach emoji, and I was like, excuse me, sir, why are you saying that to Lizzie's cover? Because, peach is the emoji we use for butts. And he was like, no, like Peach Momoko. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. So when Lacey and I went down that rabbit hole looking at Peach's stuff, we found so much in there. Amazing. So with that watercolor style that she does is so cool. And please, here's the link for Kickstarter for today. Go check this out. Here's our call to action. Ooh, I pushed the button too many times. I push the buttons. Here is this beautiful campaign. Go check it out. Shop around. See all the cool titles that John has. It's going places. He's doing things in the future that are going to be amazing. Support indie, right? Support the indie. I'm going to go play the thing because I like to play the thing. Imagine having a bucket of chicken nuggets. Maybe you and Lacey need to talk about doing a metal chicken nugget.
I should have got her on issue 2.
A bulletproof nugget.
Chicken nuggets.
She'll do it. She'll do it. Anyway, anything else you would like to share about this Kickstarter? Well, I have it up here. I want to make sure that we touch on everything.
No, I mean, I thank you so much for the thorough discussion and for going through it and having me on today. I do want to remind people you can get whatever you want, right? A lot of people, I think, the intimidation of seeing 3 books makes them kind of close the browser or whatever. You can get 1 book if you want. You can get anything, any digital issue like Laurie showed there for $3. You can try it out. We have the first issue of every series in here, or you can get them all. So it's anywhere in between. So if you just like CPS, get CPS. You won't offend us. Back what you want. That's kind of why we do these campaigns this way. It should be a la carte. For you, you are helping us get all these books out at the same time. And why not get exactly what you want? Again, for the reminder, if anybody ordered Drumsticks of Doom, you can add it to your backer kit right now if you haven't filled it out. It's also up there as well. So we're all about getting it to people as easily as possible for as cheaply as possible. Because Lord knows I don't want to ship these books 3 times. You don't want me to have to ship them 3 times. So get them all at once.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Get one. That's just like Christmas morning when you open a box full of comic books. It's just so great. My husband's always like, more comics, because they all, you know what I mean? You can tell when they come in the mail. And he just always cracks me up. He just hands them to me like, here you go, Laurie. And I was
oh, that's my wife too.
No problem.
I always like I kind of got inspired to do these by companies like Birdcage Bottom Books and Retrofit. They do these great subscription plans like this. I think that's cool. Like not just getting 1 comic in the mail, like you get a whole bunch, you know, like to me, I think that would be cool. So I hope that people enjoy this. Like you're not just opening the 1 book. There can be 3 or 5, or in our case, 17 books if you get all the PCT books or the PTC books.
Dude, how are you gonna ship that 17 books? Gotta be more than 1 mailer or a giant box. What's the plan there?
I save my Amazon boxes and and it's always a great feeling. We have several backers here who've gotten all or most of the books. That's such a great thing as a publisher to package up somebody like 20 books. It's like, oh my God, that's such a good feeling.
It's a heavy box too, people. I've done that where it's like, oh, here you go.
Yep.
Oh, Doc, thanks for coming. Hail the mighty chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for your well wishes. Cheers. I'm gonna play the video. Let's do it.
Okay. On this part.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And speaking of part-time,
we couldn't afford.
I'm gonna get fired if I don't go back to
hire
work.
someone to do our video, so we have to do it ourselves, and we ran out of time.
Hello, comic fans. This is John from Part Time Comics here. At this point in our Kickstarter career, you know how we do it. We're a little lo-fi here. We don't have big budget for videos, so here we go. Let's give you the quick pitch in 90 seconds or less. Why are we doing 3 comics at once? Well, we'll explain that at the end. But we have 3 awesome comics coming out. Very proud, all continuing series. So we figured, slap them all together. Readers who've been following along with any of these series can get each issue. Child Possession Services, Social Worker for Possessed Children, Connie Dar. This is a flashback story told in 2 short stories by my longtime collaborator, Bob Gartner-Ellis, with colors by Orlando Guzman. An awesome little one-shot in the CPS universe. So if you enjoyed the first issue, our first book through Part-Time Comics, 3 years ago, we finally have the second one coming to print. And then we have Depowered, the story of Dwayne Dax Jackson, ex-superhero down on his luck. We have reached the final issue here, the 3rd issue in the series. Back on art is Ronaldo Lay, doing all duties in this issue. And we have a new colorist, Joe Wong, who's jumped in and done a great job. We've got great variant covers. We've also got great variant covers for CPS, which we'll go through in a second. So check that one out as well. And then 10 years in the making, the conclusion to Bulletproof Chicken. If you are a follower of this series, you know that it probably needs no introduction. It is just wild, over-the-top anthropomorphic action by the badass foul cop BPC. So we have a final issue coming here. It's all in black and white. This collects the previously unavailable in print short story Fear of a Black Cock, and a brand new story that's by Bob Gartner-Ellis, and a brand new story from Ryan Vella and myself that we're tentatively calling Cross. So check that out. We have some awesome rewards through the Kickstarter. Like I said, we have amazing variant covers by Ronaldo Lay on this one. Got him in on a cover here at the end. Michael Watson does the standard cover. See some of the great art there. Bob Garnellis on our main cover for CPS. Artist DNS or Portless on Twitter did an amazing cover for the CPS Halloween special, 2 flashback stories centering around a young Connie Dar before she joins the force.
Longer than I thought.
See some great preview art from both stories there. And then, of course, our amazing cover by Bob Gar for Bulletproof Chicken. And you see Ryan has just started pencils here, and here's Bob's amazing art on his last story.
5 minutes,
in the book.
dude.
Couldn't be happier with all 3 of these series. We'll see where CPS goes, but for now, Powered and Bulletproof Chicken are coming to an end.
What?
We have all of our previous
what happens
books.
when you don't have an editor. It gets away from you.
My favorite in the beginning, you're like, we're going to pitch to you in like 90 seconds. 5 minutes.
I did say that, yeah.
You can get, as you saw in our amazing intro to this video, you can get all the amazing covers for each book. You can get our previous books, Drumsticks of Doom, On the Stack, Up and Let's Go.
What?
So I know you're all hanging out with bated breath to figure out what do these comics have to do with each other. Well, they were all co-created by my longtime collaborator, Bob Garnellis. 15 years ago, Bob was my first collaborator in comics.
I had to add the loving tribute to Bob.
He's decided to step aside with doing sequentials for now. We'll see if we can convince him to come back in the future. But really, this Kickstarter is a tribute to Bob. He's very much the co-creator of all these 3 universes and more. We've created so many more together. He even did the logo for Part-Time Comics. So Bob is a huge part, the main part of why I'm sitting here today and creating comics. So we thank him. We wanted to throw all these books together, get all Bob's work out into the world. We'd love nothing more than this to be a huge success and give, Bob a huge bundle of books, to kind of send him off here for now. But please back, support, follow Bob on Instagram, any social medias that he's on. He's a huge part of why Part-Time Comics is here today. We thank him so much. And again, I'm so happy to get these 3 books out together as really a tribute to him. And we'll have some other goodies for you too, as well at the end. We're going to throw in some rewards, some stretch goals. So we appreciate everybody checking it out. Please, if you can't, share. It really helps small businesses like us get the word out. So thanks everybody for coming back for another Kickstarter and another lame Kickstarter video.
You're
Apparently
funny.
I need to hire you for the next one. So
Yeah. No, then everybody's videos will look the same. We want them to all look different. That's what sets you apart.
Maybe.
Right? He's like, I'm not buying it. Not buying it. All right, well, let's wrap it up here. It is about that time. John, tell everybody where they can find you on your socials.
So best is to find me at the link tree right below my face there. Part-Time Comics with an X on all social media, but for some reason on Instagram we're part_time_comics, so it makes it confusing, but we're Part-Time Comics with an X pretty much everywhere you can find us. If you search that word, our web store will come up, our link tree and all that on Google, so you can find us anywhere. Part-Time Comics, Kickstarter.com/Part-Time Comics. You can follow us there, find all our crowdfunding campaigns, including, of course, the recent one that we've been talking about today, and hopefully many more in the future.
Yes. That's so exciting. And I can't wait to see what else you're going to come up with, because what's on there is just really funny and I enjoy it. It's very, I can't even use words anymore at this point after the 2-hour show.
And last night.
They're unique and they're funny. They're entertaining. They're what people in indie are looking for. So I'm always interested about what creators like yourself are going to be doing next, so I can watch and I can learn, especially with someone with your experience. It's great to see. It's great to have you on the show, just so I can ask you questions and really dive deep into what you're working on and learn.
Yeah, anytime. And anybody in the chat, if you ever have questions, look us up on social media. I had many people help me along the way, and I'm always happy to share the knowledge, because I definitely don't want to be a person who hoards all that knowledge and then watches people make the same mistakes. People, other creators are not my competition. We're all in this together. So any questions, I'm always happy to answer on social media, or like Laurie and I are in a bunch of groups that help each other. So that's what really keeps me going and has inspired me to continue to create. So why wouldn't I want to give back to that community? So please don't hesitate to ask.
I love that. I've had so many people on the show that have ended the show that way, where it's like, hey, if you have questions, come find me. I'll answer them. That's great. And thank you for doing that. Thank you again for being on the show. I wish you continued success. We'll be plugging this on the Madness as often as we can. We look forward to seeing it reach the funding goal and break some stretch goals along the way. And we'll be following along. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody in the chat that was hanging out with us and asking questions. Dude, I can't even name you all. There's so many that were in the chat today. So
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, everybody came out to see John, which is awesome. Thank you again for your support. So be awesome to each other. Kiss your babies, and we will see you all next week here on the Tuesday Morning Brew.
Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
The Civil War was America's bloodiest conflict. Over 500,000 died to preserve national unity. When the war ended, Confederates like Harley Brogdon headed west, shooting game for the Army and gambling. When a card game turns deadly, Harley shoots in self-defense, killing the card sharp who threw down first. Wilfred Knorr, the card sharp's wealthy father, will stop at nothing to see Harley hang. Harley flees to Cobb's Gap, an old silver mining town at the foot of the Rockies. A remarkably peaceful town, especially after dark. But the sheriff harbors a dark secret, and no one dares go into the mines anymore. Cobb's Gap is full of secrets. People speak in hushed tones of something in the mines. Something worse than their cursed sheriff. Something even the Indians fear from the deepest pits of hell. Every secret will be exposed. Bronze Star. Order your copy at bronzestarcomic.com.
Bringing you sex, sass, and style. Buckle up and unlock your imagination for a fun adventure with these death-dealing dames. They sail the galaxy in search of spoils. The most dangerous acquisition, and the most fruitful, are the legendary Splinters of Yggdrasil. The Splinters are magical artifacts forged from the Tree of Life that wreak havoc on the universe. The missions are perilous, but the bounty is glorious. Enjoy our hyper-fictional wonderland. How is a pirate ship sailing through space? 'Cause magic. How do they heal so quickly after battle? 'Cause magic. How are they able to communicate through jewelry? 'Cause magic. It's all about the characters. Abo, rough, robotic, ready. Mo, carefree, callous, courageous. Mistress Graven, daring, diplomatic, dominating. Betsy, academic, accountable, aristocratic. Nefara, ancient, assured, adrenaline junkie. Bruto, proud, prominent, protective. Fisty, independent, incendiary, invigorating. Roxy, superficial, scarred, secretive. Once you get to know this diverse crew of mythical miscreants, you'll be anxious to find out what trouble they'll get into on the next episode. Go to abogrizzly.com and order both halves of the first episode today.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.com.